I traveled out to Argonia, Kansas, where they had the annual Air Fest, a gathering of rocket enthusiasts from all around the country.
Well, the way this started is, I guess 3 years ago, I have at that time a 9-year-old son, 10-year-old son, and he got involved in, excuse me. You always want to watch the launches just in case they come towards you. At any rate, we got involved in Estes Rocketry, the little small low-power rocketry, and we found an advertisement, a flyer out at Science Education of a high-power launch. We drove out here not expecting anything, and there was a rocket of this size and bigger, and we were hooked. And what started off with level 1 rockets proceeded into level 2 rockets, and now we've gone kind of in a big circle, and we're up at a level 3 certification. The national organization is an organization called AAA. It's and they have certifications in place to talk about what size motors you can fly legally. As a person off the street, you can fly up to a G motor. Certify one time, you build an H motor rocket or an I motor rocket, and that's a level 1 certification. And the only requirement for that is you build the rocket and then you fly it successfully inside of one of the prefix around here. Level 2 certification is a little more difficult. It's a little more thrust. You have to take a written test on safety regulations and theory of flight, and then you fly a bigger motor, a J, K, or an L motor, and successfully recover. The last step in AAA certification is level 3, and that's what I'll be attempting today or tomorrow. M, N, or O motors. Doesn't take a written, but now I have to submit my plans to the rocket to AAA Advisory Panel. It's a very select group of experts. They review my plans, they review the construction of the rocket. They're here to make sure that it's safely built, assembled, and ready to fly. They actually give me the approval to fly it. I fly it and successfully recover, and then I'm level 3 certified. You know, level 1 rocket you could do easily for under $100. A level 2 rocket, not a whole lot more than that. The problem with level 3 becomes some of the requirements. One of the requirements is it has to be electronically deployed parachute. Some of these other rockets will use a motor burn through and a puff of black powder to deploy the parachute. We have to put ours out with electronics. In this rocket, I'll have 2 altimeters that sense apogee. The motor reload is $360, and so in 4.5 seconds I'm out $360. Successful or not, I might add. The motor case is another $330. The good news is I'm borrowing this one from a prefix, so I didn't have to acquire that. I guess the answer to your question is about, I don't know, $650, $700. And if it all comes back, I get all of it back, but $350, and if it's not, it goes up proportionally from there. There are engineers, there are pilots, there are sales guys, there are line workers. I had some experience with Estes rockets in their childhood, and the thrill of the high power rocketry is that if it was fun with an Estes, it's a lot of fun with these rockets because there's so much more thrust and they're difficult. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, is to build a rocket like this. This rocket's a piece of cardboard tube that's wrapped 3 times with fiberglass, and the fins are plywood fins that are fiberglass, and then use epoxy fillets to build it in place. And it has to be relatively accurate because any kind of difference in the nozzle causes it to fly unusual. It has to be strong. This rocket will hit, the motor will hit 450 pounds of thrust for 4.5 seconds. It sustains, I think, 13G launch, 13 times the, 13 Gs. The astronauts only get 7. I mean, and this is a heavy, big, heavy rocket. Some of these other guys, their rockets hit, 50, 60 Gs. 65 pounds. Getting it to go up is easy, but the challenge is, again, to recover it. The up part's easy, the down part's a little difficult. I learned by watching. There's a lot of guys out here that are very talented rocket builders, and And when I first got started, I walked around and looked at everybody's project. And the real nice thing about a club like Cloudbusters here is that you can ask anybody anything and they're going to help you with your project. There's really no formal training involved in it. I don't have any kind of engineering or construction background. I'm a salesman. These guys can really can steer you right. And that's the advantage of doing this in a club environment rather than trying to do this individually out in the field somewhere. The parameters on this rocket, when it's done, you're only looking at half of it. There's another 9.5 feet that goes on top of it. At 10 feet above the rocket pad, it'll be doing 42 miles an hour. At motor burnout, 4.5 seconds later, it's going 435 miles an hour, Mach 7.8, 78% of the speed of sound. The motor burns out, it slows down pretty quickly after that. From that 4.5 seconds, it's going to coast up about 11 seconds or 12 seconds. And it should reach apogee or top of its flight at about 5,300 feet above the ground level, which is not high by some scales, but it's high by a 19-foot long rocket that's 7.5 inches in diameter. So, and with anything, with any luck, it'll touch down going about 15 feet per second under a 10-foot parachute each half. So that's the biggest parameter. I get all my stuff back then. Tripoli has many altitude records. Most of them are done by minimum diameter rockets with the maximum sort of motor you can put in it. And they do it by engine class, be it an A, B, C, D, or an M motor. The M motor altitude class in the motor category that I'm going to be flying this rocket on is, I'm going to guess, it's 28 or 30,000 feet. But that'd be a rocket that's 4 inches in diameter, the same diameter as the motor, basically. Tripoli also has what they call large rockets, and a large rocket in the M motor class is 7.5 inches in diameter, 8 feet long. Well, I've got the 7.5 inches and the 8 feet in the bottom half of the rocket. It's currently not clean, so if my flight is successful, I'll own the high altitude, or the large rocket high altitude record. We're going to use 9.5 grams of black powder, and it should pressurize this upper tube to about 20 psi, so pounds per square inch. With any luck, it'll blow these two parts apart 30 feet at altitude. I have a 5-foot shot cord, so I should get parachutes. That's the whole intent. That's what's next. Wait for the wind to die down and prep the rocket. And I'm going to go around and ask some of these guys what they think about me building the ejection charges now. And then waiting, because I don't want to take them back into town. I'm going into town tonight. I'll have to find someone that's staying out or someplace to keep it out here, because I don't want to carry that in my truck. Is that too much space, Dennis? You see the top? Or is it leaning against the left one?
We got eight more foot to put on this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, eight more feet.
8 more foot, so it'll be 16 foot total.
Yeah, plus a 2-foot nose cone. Well, this is my level 3 project, which is the highest certification in Tripoli. the large motor class. And we're getting this tower here ready to accept this bottom half of my rocket and then the upper half. When the wind calms down, we'll assemble it, load the ejection charges, pack the parachutes, and hopefully launch it. Well, launch it, that's no problem. Hopefully recover it. Well, I'm kind of new to the sport. I guess I've been here about 2.5 years. But the bug's bitten pretty hard, which kind of happens. And when you start with a smaller rocket, it's kind of like cars. You want bigger, better, and faster. And this is what happens when you get bigger, better, and faster in rocketry. On the motor of the class that Kevin and I are going to be flying here this afternoon or tomorrow, you wouldn't want to be very close to this because the noise when these launch at 500 feet is quite a shock. That out at this kind of close range, it'd probably be deafening. And for safety reasons, obviously we have no one out here. This is going to be hard to put in your video.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, we saved it at least. Still looks like it's kind of...
Come on, open,
well, it
open.
ain't gonna bury anyway. Looks like the payload's not quite fluffed either. Still an awesome flight though.